Hello, welcome to the course Big Data Analytics. Here we will see the introduction to Big Data. Here, coming to the outline. First, here we will see introduction to Big Data. What is Big Data? Characteristics or V's of Big Data. Some of the examples of V's in action. What is Big Data? Here, various definitions are collected from various sources to understand the meaning of big data. According to Bernard Marr, he defines big data as the digital trace that we are generating in this digital era. This digital trace is made up of all the data that is captured when we use digital technology. Also, according to Bernard Marr, the basic idea behind the phrase big data is that everything we do is increasingly leaving a digital trace, means also called as data, which we can use and analyze to become smarter. The driving forces in this brave new world are access to ever increasing volumes of data and our ever increasing technological capability to mine that data for commercial insights. This is the basic idea behind the term big data. Then, according to the researcher Gartner, big data is a high volume, high velocity, and or high variety information assets that demand cost effective, innovative forms of information processing that enable enhanced insight, decision making, and process automation. Here, earlier we mentioned characteristics or V's of big data. Here you can see high volume, high velocity, high variety. Volume, velocity, variety, three V's are included there. So some more V's are there during at the time we will see. Then according to Ernest and Ang, big data refers to the dynamic, large, and disparate volumes of data being created by whom? By us people, then by tools and by machines. It requires new, innovative, and scalable technology to collect, host, and analytically processes the vast amount of data gathered in order to derive some real-time business insights. Those are all related to consumers, risk, profit, performance, productivity management, and enhanced shareholder value. This is the another way of defining a big data. Then, according to Lisa Arthur, a Forbes contributor, defined big data is a collection of data from traditional and digital sources inside and outside of a company that represents a source of ongoing discovery and analysis. Then finally, by seeing all these definitions, so what is big data? So big data is a data whose scale, distribution, diversity, and our timelines require the use of new technical architectures and analytics which are used to enable insights that unlock new sources of business value. This is the technical definition of big data. For this, what are the things required? You require new data architecture, we require new tools, we require analytical methods, then some integrating multiple skills into new role of data scientist. These are the requirements for handling big data. Then organizations are deriving business benefits from analyzing ever large and more complex data sets that increasingly require some real-time capabilities. What organizations require while defining big data? Then what are the characteristics also called as V's of big data? That means all the characteristics starts with the letter V. That's why this is also called as V's of big data. So actually, there is no one definition of big data. So till now, we have seen many definitions like that. We don't have a unique definition. So different ways you can define the term big data. So, but there are certain elements that are common across the different definitions. All these elements, directly or indirectly, are included in all the definitions. What are those? The first one is velocity, the second one is volume, the third one is variety, and finally veracity. So here four V's are there. One more V is also there, that is emerging V, that we will call it as value. Finally, what is the value outcome? That's why these are all called as V's of big data or characteristics of big data. So these are all the V's of big data or characteristics. Now, let us see the glance of all these. So, the V's are characteristics of big data. So, is shown below pictorially. In one sentence, you can understand the meaning of all the V's. The first one is velocity. Here you can see the image. Here it is like a rocket or aeroplane. So, that means you know the speed. There is the highest speed transport. So velocity is nothing but speed of the data. Then volume, see this diagram. First here lower to higher it is increasing. That means scale of the data. Data is increasing from lower level to higher level with respect to size. Then coming to variety, next feature is variety. Variety of data, what you are understanding here, the data is represented with different colors or different font and a different size. That means what is the outcome of this variety? Diversity of the data. The data with different types of formats, not in a single format. Then veracity. Veracity nothing but certainty, certainty of the data, consistency. So these are all the V's of big data at glance in simple one sentence or one word. Then let us see in detail about all this, followed by examples. Velocity is the speed of the data or the speed at which data accumulates. Then volume is the scale of the data or the increase in the amount of data stored. Then variety. Variety is the diversity of the data. Here we have structured data that fits neatly into rows and columns like table that is in relational database, and unstructured data that is not organized in a predefined way. For example, tweets, blog posts, pictures, numbers, and even video data. Here you can see every category having different formats. You don't have a standardized unique format. That's why that is unstructured data. Then coming to veracity. Veracity is nothing but the conformity to facts and accuracy. With the large amount of data available, then the debate desires, the discussion desires on about the accuracy of data in the digital era. So, and also, is the information real or is it false? This is to be ensured. Then the five V's of big data at glance are given below with respect to description, attributes, drivers, comparison. Let us see the first one, veracity. So what is the description? Quality and origin of data. What are the attributes required in veracity? Consistency, completeness, integrity, ambiguity. Then the drivers required. Cost, need of traceability, and justification. That is veracity. Then coming to volume. So how to describe volume? The amount of data generated is vast compared to traditional data sources. Then what are the attributes? That means the data size, exabyte, zettabyte, petabyte, etc. Then the drivers required, increase in data sources, higher resolution sensors, scalable infrastructure. These are all the data sources. Then the next one is variety. So variety, how to describe? Data comes from different sources like machines, people, processes, both from outside and inside the company or organization. So then the attributes, degree of the structure, whenever the data comes in different formats, then complexity. Then what are the drivers or sources? Mobile, social media, video, genomics, IoT, etc. Then coming to velocity. So the description, how to describe. Data is being generated extremely fast, a processor that never stops, and the speed at which data is transformed into insight. Then what are the attributes? Batch, near or real time streams. Then what are the drivers or sources? For velocity, improved connectivity, competitive advantage, pre-computed information. Then finally, the fifth V is called as V, that is value, that is emerging V. This data is taken from the source EY 2014, ITU 2013. Then you can see the examples of the V's in action with the real-time examples. Coming to the velocity, this diagram here you can see velocity every 60 seconds, that means 1 minute, 400 hours of new video shared to YouTube. This is the social media YouTube. So in every second, 400 hours of new video shared to YouTube. So actually, this data uh, we have considered 4 years back. Now, as on today, 400 hours becomes, you can see, even it is more than double. So that's why you can see how much data is generating every day in every second. Another example, if you can take Instagram. So in Instagram, same every 60 seconds, how many likes? Let us see here. 24 lakhs 30,555 Instagram likes. Then Tinder swipes. Here you can see 9 lakhs 72,222. This is just one example in 1 second. So how much data is generating? That's why it is called as a velocity. The speed, the speed of producing data. The speed means within that short duration, more data is generating. So here you can see the same thing is described here. Every 60 seconds, 400 hours of footage are uploaded to YouTube. This amount of data is generated every minute. So think about how much accumulates over hours, days, and in years. Then coming to volume. Volume is nothing but storage size. So here, volume every day, we create about 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. So like that for storing this large amount of data, so how many storage devices are required? Your system capacity, how much capacity is required? So whatever into 10 million. So like that volume is increased. That means every day we create approximately 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. That's 10 million Blu-ray DVDs every day. The data is generating and stored in Blu-ray DVDs every day, let us assume. So the world population is approximately 7 billion people, and the vast majority of people are now using digital devices. These devices all generate, capture, and store data. And with more than one device, for example, mobile devices, desktop computers, laptops, etc., what we are seeing, even more data being produced. That is the volume. Then coming to variety means different formats. By seeing this diagram here, you can see this is the camera icon. So this is some a disc. This is book. This is some audio. This is some. This is another type of device. That means data is generating from various sources. This is just a glance given here. That's why variety. So think about the different types of data. It may be text data, image data, or film means video data. What about sound and health data? Where wearing those devices and many different types of data from the devices connected to the IoT, that is Internet of Things. Then coming to the veracity is about certainty of the data. So for example, the following image you can observe. So out of three business leaders, one business leader didn't trust their data. So that's why that is the importance of veracity, certainty needs to be maintained. That means 80% of the data is considered to be unstructured, and we must devise the ways to produce reliable and accurate insights. The data must be categorized, analyzed, and visualized. Then finally, the last V, which is called as emerging V, that is value. So value means finally whether you are profitable, whether you achieved your outcome or not. So for example, here the profit, finally, whatever we are doing, what is the outcome or profit, whether your target is achieved or not. That's why it is emerging V, that is value. So the emerging V is value. Here, this V refers to our ability and need to turn data into value. So value is not just profit. It may be a medical or social benefits, or customer, employee, or personal satisfaction also. Finally, by seeing this introduction about big data analytics, so what is the conclusion? What are the main reasons for why people invest time to understand big data? Is to derive value from it. That is the fifth V, that is emerging V. So this is just the beginning of our big data course. So all of you a very happy learning. Stay tuned for the next upcoming lectures.